Now
Okay.
we're live.
But I know Dana's going to show up.
All right. Hey, Mark and Steven won.
Oh, we are live. Okay.
Yeah, we are live right now. We went from not live to totally live.
Greetings, if anyone who has already jumped in and is tuned in. This will be the final Lego Masters Season 2 wrap show. We will be joined by Dana here in a few minutes. And Fazoom is actually at the local celebration hosted for Friends of Mark and Steven, which is occurring on the south side of the Atlanta metro area. There's a chance he might give us a live look-in on his phone or something. But there was going to be a meeting at a church on the south side where they have co-workers from Atlanta Brick Company and friends. Oh, well, speak of Fazoom, here he is.
All right, there you go. Matthew, I'm not going to leave you alone. I got to go, though.
All right.
Bye. Congrats to Matthew and to Mark and Steven. Tell them Jeff said he told them so.
There's a Fazoom Jr. in the background, I see.
So this was the auditorium we were in to watch it, and they're somewhere, they're being mobbed, I'm sure, but it was a great event. Oh, look. Look what I found. Look.
It's Brick Snaps.
Look.
Oh my god. That's so cool. Oh my gosh.
You must see you face to face. Hello.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm getting dizzy.
Greetings.
All right, so, I can't hear y'all, so I'm sorry, but yeah, it was great, big celebration. It was obvious who was going to win that thing, I think, but they had balloons to drop, so and there's cake, so I'll let y'all go, but y'all have fun with the show. Yeah, there's cake. I'm going to get cake.
I think Fazoom
Let
Jr.
me see if I can find them real quick.
Oh, we've been joined.
Hey, somebody send Jesse an invite. I don't know if he's on my email list or not. But anyway, I've lost them. I can't find them. But yes, there's look. Hey, it's me, Brian Briggs.
It's Brian.
What's up? Why aren't you all here? They're losers.
It's a Tuesday.
We're with the winners.
It's a 2 hours on the road. For me.
There was Trish.
It's 2 hours on the road, and I have to.
I don't know where they went. They may have gone potty. I don't know. So, but there was a good crowd here. Big celebration. It was super cool, and there's cake. So I got a lot of texts coming in to tell them congratulations.
That is the second time we've heard Chris say cake.
Cake. Oh, there's cake. I mean, that's important priorities in life.
Exactly.
So anyway, let me see if I can just catch them somewhere.
So were they giving little live commentary at commercial breaks?
Do what now?
Were they giving commentary during commercial breaks there?
Yes. Steven has a 13.5 shoe, and they did actually trip up and almost pull it off. So that was for real. Oh my, that was one of them was assassinated just then. Hang on, I'm trying to find them.
I don't think that there are enough Atlanta Brick Company signs around the room.
Yeah, ABC went all out. Oh, by the way, they set this up for them. Oh.
Yes!
Nexo.
That's awesome. That is perfect.
And they have some wear from the originals. This is some replicas of some of the stuff. This is very cool. Here's a little astronaut. I don't know if you can see those or not.
Nice.
But, see if I can catch them.
We all knew.
Yes, it was a no-brainer.
I was fairly certain they were winning.
There they are.
I saw them in person, and their body language was extremely positive when they talked to me.
Yes, Old Great Bricks is online.
Hey guys, we won!
Yes, we
did. You're a legend.
Congratulations, guys! Awesome job. I called it. Just saying, I called it.
Hey, we'll talk later. All right,
we will.
We'll talk later.
Thanks, guys. Yeah.
All right, next one. Let's go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, now I can get cake. Y'all seen the winners? I can get cake, right?
Cake.
All right, since you've mentioned cake so much, we at least need to see the cake before you have the cake.
You should.
Hang on. I think I turned y'all down. I did. There you are.
Yeah, we need
I lost audio, so I'll see y'all later. We got to drive back to Atlanta. y'all talk about it, but yeah, it was a great time. See y'all later. Bye.
Who won?
No, I don't want
Who won?
Yeah, who won? I didn't watch it.
Who knows? What the hell?
All right.
Well, the one thing I was wondering about was, did they get to test it with the lights turned down so that they had a feel for what it was going to look like? I mean, I would think that would be one thing you would want to know as you were building, but was not explained because we had a lot of human interest time on the show. So.
I think that there was plenty of lights in there to see it light up regardless.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think Chris had messaged us that they actually that 24 hours are spread out over 3 days.
Yeah.
So which means at the end of the day, they're probably going to turn the lights down anyway. So that was probably a way for them to even take a look at it and see how it was going. I know that those are non-Lego lights. They are not OEM. I'm curious to see which lights that they used. It looked like strip lights. Looked pretty cool. I know that Mark and Steven's serpent build that they've been taking around to a couple of different shows use that same effect.
Yep.
So I definitely want to pick their brains on that one next time I talk to them.
Yeah, I kind of suspected. I told Thomas before the show started. I said, I wonder if they're gonna build the same thing they took to Brick Fair, and the thing they took to Brick Fair was their finale. But as soon as they started explaining, I said, no, it's something different. But it used obscured lighting or
very similar.
Yes,
Similar
structure, but
similar lighting. But they kind of took an homage of the three of their builds together, I think, to make that serpent one kind of stand out and feel like things. Since Chris is not here and we're kind of just doing this ad hoc, at least we have Cat Butt. That's all that really matters.
I'm so tired of him.
No, don't you realize that it's not a good episode unless we have Cat Butt? If it's not your cat,
there you go.
It's there we go. If it's not one of your cats, it's one of mine. It's Matthew's. You never know.
First mine, but I don't have a cat right now. So
exactly. We'll give you time, though. We'll give you time.
Months, years.
Yeah.
Dana can loan you one.
I can look.
Yeah, you can have one of mine. You can have blind.
Yeah. Loan me a
All
cat.
yours.
Sure.
But a quick shout out along the list here. Mr. Blue Sky, Seth, Pele, Axel. Welcome to the show. Thanks for hanging out with us. Jesse's Bricks. Jesse, I think we were trying to get you an invite. I don't know if Chris sent it to you. Maybe if he does, get it in here. So let's talk about the show. Matthew, you pointed it out from the get-go. Lots of human interest.
Yeah.
There were some great builds that got like 30% of the screen time in the show. Like, honestly, the twins structural thing where they flipped that thing over and they locked it down, like, that in and of itself was impressive. Like, I as someone who builds and has put things together, I was holding my breath as like they team anchored that thing together because it's heavy. I mean, if you build something, even if it's hollow in parts, that thing was heavy, and they had to know what they were doing for that thing not to topple over in a big old mess.
Wait, how much of it was TV, like, angst or whatever, like TV anxiety, because they left you on the cliffhanger for the commercial break, and it's like, oh, okay, it's either going to fall apart and break or it's going to be totally okay,
Well, I mean, I assume that it wasn't going to shatter, but anytime you have weight that is only supported by 4 anchor points, and initially they were not even attached, so they were tacking with just some plates, and then they had to layer that so that it would be stronger. But if in the first 5 minutes, if whichever twin was holding it up had let go, it would have fallen over. I mean, there's no doubt about that. So.
That was also impressive teamwork because they weren't even communicating with each other.
Oh, they were communicating telepathically by the twin link.
And the one kid, he was holding it up, and you could see his arms were like shaking a little bit. And the other one was like popping in his.
I have a couple of buildings that are just as heavy as that thing, and just moving them around off a shelf if it's up high.
Well, even Caleb said that in the offshoot commentary section, which those things always make me laugh because we know that they're not live and they're not consistent. So it's like recall timing, could be days later or whatever. And he even says, like, if we flip this thing over and we drop it or it falls on the bottom half, they're both destroyed. And my first thought was, well, why not flip it over the table first and then carry it over? But they decided to flip it and mount it at the exact same time. So
Do you wonder though if that was part of the production? If they were,
they were asked to.
It could
Yeah.
be they flipped it at the table first as a test before they carried it over. That's possible. We didn't see that.
Yeah. They may have said, okay, we're only gonna get it on camera when you take it and put it over.
But that would mean that they would have had to flip it over and then flip it back. And then
but
flip it
it's
over
quite-
again.
It's quite possible that they did do that.
But if-
without
It's
doing that.
possible.
if they
I won't
flipped
say
it-
it's not possible.
If they did a test flip and 5 pieces fell off, then you'd want to flip it back and put them on and make
True.
them more stable.
Now, granted, there was totally a drama-induced moment. Will it break? Will it not? Let's leave the cliffhanger to the commercial. That's total television drama because you're right. You would assume that they would have not waited till then to test the structural integrity of the build itself. You would assume.
I mean, I let me speak from experience as someone who has dropped and tripped over a lot of Lego. It's very possible to do that. So I have destroyed my
I guess
Ninjago
it
City
can
not
go
once,
both
but
ways.
twice. I have dropped the Tower Bridge set in my garage. I have knocked the Star Destroyer up here off of the shelf into pieces. So it's very possible to create a big old pile of bricks very quickly.
Yeah.
But I think we would assume at that point in the game they were going to be sure about before flipping it over. I mean, I think it was dramatized and TV'd up to give it that feel, that sense of, oh no, even though they knew it was going to be fine.
There's plenty of stuff that I've manhandled and flipped around and had it fall on the ground in front of people. And I'm like, it's okay. It's just Lego. It'll go back together again.
Of course, you also didn't have
all the parts.
But you didn't have $100,000 riding on the line, and we didn't have
No.
a clock ticking. You got to get this done.
No. That's correct.
Yeah.
But I mean, things happen.
Yeah.
Or don't. And I'm kind of glad that they kind of beefed it up a little bit to get maybe the viewing audience more amped about the excitement of building with Lego.
But again, you know what? And Matthew, you gotta back me up on this or lead the conversation of this because you've seen most of at least season 1 of the Australian show. They don't pull the drama as much, do they? No,
if they focus on the drama of the build, like will it work and can you execute your vision, and they do focus a little bit on like relationship between the partners. So for example, there's the 2 guys, I think they were work on oil rigs or something. And they didn't always see 100% eye to eye. And the one guy was kind of gruff, like in his personality. So it was a little kind of fun for TV because he was a little cranky sometimes about stuff. But
that wasn't like we've got to make it drama. It was just more human interest along the way where Fox seems to have this opinion that we can do it better because we're Hollywood and we're going to make this reality TV, whether you want it to be reality TV or not.
I think that they're just playing to what they know the potential audiences want. Not us. We don't count.
Oh, no, we don't count.
We're going to watch it anyways.
Yeah,
but you know what, though?
I wonder how many people actually watch this final episode.
Well, we'll find out with the ratings or whatever. But
so
the point I got to make, though, and from what Rich was saying, is that Lego is starting. I mean, now, granted, this is the difference between Lego versus Fox. That being said, but even Lego has learned in the last, and I'm not saying the last decade, I'm talking about the last couple years, that their expected demographic is not what they thought it was. that the adult market is a far bigger cash cow than they ever gave it credit for. All of our rooms are an example of why. And I think that the Fox network is also doing the same mistake that Lego was doing. Oh, it's the non-Lego fans that we're trying to appeal to and to get to watch, when really it's the Lego fans in general. And the Lego fans are there are far more Lego fans than they're giving credit to. And that they should be taking more time and focusing on the builds and the techniques versus trying to make it, Big Brother or, Survivor or whatever. It's a Lego show. It's not. If I wanted to watch Survivor, I'd watch Survivor. Give me a Lego show. Give me build techniques. Give me cool builds. Give me cool storytelling. That's what Lego's about. So
I agree that there should be at least 20% more of that for us. And yeah, we're a fairly large demographic, but they think they know what they want to get other people to watch it. So the American market always, television wise, caters to the lowest common denominator,
which is unfortunate. And you're right. And that's exactly what Hollywood does. But you know what though? If we've seen over COVID that if someone picks up a Lego set and starts building and they weren't a Lego fan before, they're all of a sudden a Lego fan and they're interested in it. I mean, you're not expecting the guys. Well, I mean, I say this and this is not accurate because I can be completely wrong. The guys who are watching, Sunday Night Football, are they going to be building Lego sets and tuning into Lego Masters? Maybe.
Some of them.
Maybe.
Some of them do.
You don't know. That's just it. They're making stereotype assumptions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because
I've heard of at least a couple of football players who are actually Lego fans as well. But
well, granted, depending on whether we're talking American football or soccer or world football, I mean, David Beckham is a self-proclaimed Lego fan. Yeah. We already know that. So it goes to say that no, Lego is not a stereotypical hobby that just only certain people do it. It crosses all cultures, all boundaries, all income brackets, all ethnicities, you name it. If I were to call a world religion, I'd go with Lego versus something else.
Yeah,
there's very commonality across all continents, all cultures, all ethnicities. It's a commonality that we all enjoy, but totally wrong tangent for this particular scenario. I'm sorry we got out on this.
So I want to come back to the American idea of reality, quote unquote, reality television is conflict. Eyeballs are drawn to conflict. And this is the same assumption that they make in cable news shows where people scream at each other. I don't watch any of that stuff. I don't watch cable news, and I teach American government. I don't watch most quote unquote reality shows. I watch talent shows. Yeah. I watch the glass blowing show. I watch Project Runway and the sequel to Project Runway. We watch the British baking show, and it's the talent that is the show. I mean, that's what I tune in for.
I agree with that. I've enjoyed Moonshiners.
Okay.
It's not too bad. Yep. Forged in Fire is pretty good.
Also, I prefer American Pickers over Pawn Stars because Pawn Stars, you can tell that they're getting the information fed to them about the stuff, whereas American Pickers, it feels genuine. Like, like when they're like, oh, look at this 1956 Ford, whatever, and they rattle off all the information on American Pickers, it's genuine, right?
Yeah.
And to this point, like my favorite guilty pleasure for the last several months is that when I'm flipping through Facebook, and there's a video that pops up of some girl building an entire diorama of a cave with golems and this forest that happens out of it, or there's a guy who's taking and making this bowl out of I don't know what on a lathe, and watching this whole process of their creation, their build all the way to the end. I'm just like, I gotta watch this. This is cool. Yeah. I'm just drawn to that. It never fails. I always scroll. I'm like, yeah, here we go in. This is cool. I gotta watch this.
The lathe guy is pretty good.
Yes, anything with a lathe or metal working, or hey, we're gonna take this pound of spoons and turn it into a broadsword. Yeah, I'm in. Let's watch.
Sure.
I mean,
I-
that's the whole
I-
creative process and the build process. That's what sucks us in.
I mean, showing conflict was a 90s thing, a 2000s thing. Like, that's what all the networks started doing is conflict. It's going to draw eyeballs. Well, guess what? If you want to watch conflict, there's programming for you every night of the week, every hour slots. So if you want to be different, I actually think that producers should consider the fact that not everyone wants to watch conflict. Some people want to watch talent.
I think if they had spent more time showing us the build process that people were going through, would have been much more entertaining. I mean, not to say the human interest isn't entertaining and it doesn't bring anything to it. Yes, it does. But again, it was a little overboard. I really want, and I want to kind of bring us back to talking about the episode and the build, Zach and Wayne's Dragons, and them trying to work through, trying to twist and make the dragons rotate, the scales rotate, and give it movement, which they obviously didn't come through on.
Let's achieve that. Yeah.
Yeah, they couldn't achieve it. And I was texting with Brian and Mare, and they were armchair technicking, and they're like, yeah, that's not going to work. I mean, just like flat out. They're like, the gear working and how they were working it just wasn't going to happen. I would have loved to have actually been there and watched Zach and Wayne go through that process more than they touched on it. They just touched on it as a little bit of human interest, and then we didn't even talk about it at the end. Granted, editing, all that jazz, whatever.
Or if you want to show tension, Project Runway used to do this where they'd have a camera crew that showed them in their hotel rooms tired, and they would come onto the set. They'd show them after the build, they're exhausted.
Yeah.
And sometimes they fight with each other. I mean, so sometimes there's, they roommates or whatever, but just show, like, we know from talking to Mark and Steven that they were exhausted at the end. And we know that they had long build days. And I kind of feel like they try to give people this false impression because they wear the same clothing multiple days in a row that they built it all in 24 hours, which isn't true. They built it over 3 days in season 1 and 2 days most of the time in season 2.
Yeah.
But you could show this as a marathon. You could actually feature that as a dramatic element of who can stay in the marathon, who can remain mentally sharp. I think Zach and Wayne, honestly, they got tired. Their first builds showed great artistry, and I felt that the longer they went, the technical ability was still there, but the artistry started to slip. And I think that's just probably fatigue. I don't think that I don't doubt that they had the talent. They just looked.
Is it fatigue, or is it a one-show pony?
Could be
in some aspects, because I was thinking about it as they were showing everybody's clips, each team's through the way, and Caleb and Jacob, they were definitely, they were getting their stride here at the end. And I totally disagree.
Surprised that they were number 3. I thought
exactly that was my point. I was going to say that they should not have been number 3. That Zach and Wayne should have been number 3 because they had a tower. Granted, it was structurally built. Yada yada. We've seen them structurally build stuff. The whole thing. Caleb and Jacob, they went outside of the box.
Yes, they did.
Flipped. I mean, just the sheer aspect of flipping it over. They had motion. Notice that Zach and Wayne did not have motion.
Or their motion.
You also have to think about the emotional aspect with Zach and Wayne because they tied in like their family element where they're.
And you know what?
Every level is a different thing.
You're tacking on one of my soapboxes for Lego Masters in general, because are we there for the drama?
Wait, stop. Think about the network that Lego Masters is on, right? Now think about the tower that Zach and Wayne built and the sentimental feeling that it brought.
I mean, for 9/11?
No.
Oh, okay, then I'm like, what do you mean? What tower sentimental feelings am I?
No, I don't get what you're trying to say, man.
Yeah, I don't get what you're saying.
No, like the family aspect, like.
The fact that they were bringing all this.
They were like, this is me, this is my daughter, this is my son, this is my girlfriend.
But again, so what you're saying is that if I'm single and don't have children, or if I'm married and I have cats and a wife,
they have the more sentimental value over the twin
brother. Hold on. If you go with that logic, Maddie, and I'm okay with it, what about the ninjas on the bottom floor? They started off as ninjas. Were they ninjas? Who did they go out and kill? I want to know.
Maybe it was
The
the subtle
other-
nod to their Yakuza family members.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
god!
Or
joked
Chinese
that
mafia. I guess it would be Chinese mafia because they're not. They're not.
Look
They're
on
not
the book
Japanese.
out because
You know
Yakuza
what
is
I'm
coming
saying?
for you.
Does anyone agree with me? But like, whatever. what I'm
I know
saying.
what you're saying, but at the same time,
I might-
as I said though,
I might be in agree with you. So when they showed Zach and Wayne's mom or dad, I forget which one of them, and they said something about winning Lego Masters. I said, this is the Spartan mothers who would say, either come back with your shields or come back on your shields. In other words, either win the battle or die. And I
Yeah,
was
well,
like,
it's like
this
it's
is
like
the
they-
Lego Master version of you
Is
better
that-
win this
Zach
or
and
don't
Wayne-
come home.
Yeah.
Zach and Wayne had the opportunity. I'm no. I'm making assumptions. I'm saying like when they did the whole like everyone has that. You know what I'm saying? No. Never mind. I'm not going to bring in the horrible things that. No,
all right, I'm going to save you and move on. Wait, so
Yeah.
the point being is that one show
I think Matthew knows. He's like, yeah, I know what you're talking.
Are you going with the Tiger Mom thing? Here?
Yes.
I knew it.
I read that book.
Zach and Wayne got tiger bombed. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying is that they had this, we got to defend our family honor and that we're actually smart and we're doing something with our lives outside of academics. And yes, we're making sushi and yes, we play Lego, but we can still win.
And
something
becoming
great.
ninjas. And becoming ninja assassins, right?
There is a cultural thing of cultural expectations, and some people have more placed upon them by their parents than others, and that's a real thing.
Well, I mean that's a whole testament to why the business of therapy and psychology exists from dealing with childhood traumas due to these parental type scenarios.
But
I'm a doctor.
I can say
not
I'm a
that
victim of these
doctor.
types of things in certain ways, but not necessarily in that particular way. But what I wanted to say earlier about the one trick pony is that we saw them do dragons in the first episode, and yeah, you could say,
True.
"Oh, we came full circle," but we saw them do dragons throughout. And as much as I love Mark and Steven and call them, and they will still be the Castle Brothers to me, they reached outside of their comfort zone. They did things that were different all the way through,
well,
instead of just focusing on what they, and keeping it safe all the time.
But they didn't make whales.
wait. So this is what we talked about way in the beginning. Like I missed the middle. I was there for the beginning and now I'm here for the very end. But what we talked about was playing it safe in the beginning, right? And then
Ramp it up at the end, which they played it safe at the end again.
you think they played it safe?
I think they were tired.
You know what? You can say they were tired. We know they were tired, but they were at least getting sleep, and it wasn't all in one day like the last three builds. I'll give you fatigue the last 3 days or the last three builds, but this one they actually got to do it over 3 days. And again, I come back to that they were structural builders because we saw them build amazing structural things through the whole season, which saved them countless times. Except, but this was let your creativity fly. And we called out this last week that it was going to be about this is the time to shine. And I even joked about when they went to shows, and I called it out that Mark and Steven won because they took a cool build with them to 2 big Lego shows. And Zach and Wayne showed up, and I think that Jeff McElwee was making the comment that they just brought the stuff that they've always brought. And I'm like, and that is how you don't win.
Well,
The
the other thing that I said, and I thought it was wrong that Zach and Wayne finished second. I had them third in my
Absolutely.
scorecard at home, and I
When
said,
they said,
the reason
the first person going home, first team is going home, I said Zach and Wayne. When
Yeah.
they called out
I did
Caleb and Jacob, I was like, no.
and here's 2 reasons. One, putting lights on the ceiling of floors is like standard operating procedure. There is nothing innovative. There's nothing creative about that. It's something that anyone who's ever done lights in a building has done. It's not special. And building a tower with multiple stories, and I'm a builder guy, I do buildings, is also by the book.
Yep.
Like there's nothing special. Now, the only thing that was creative were the stuff on the outside, and the scenes, the vignettes inside were unique. But on the other hand, you've got the twins who built a freaking hourglass, and they have curves and they have hanging upside down. So technically, it's more complicated. Visually, it's much more interesting. I would say the lights on the twins was sort of ho hum. It wasn't especially great, but at least it was different than lighting up floors,
Correct.
which was pretty tame. I mean, if you're trying to show your creativity, I think Zach and Wayne would have been better served to do another huge build and put lights somehow into behind translucent bricks or something. The fact that they went with a building, it actually seemed to go backwards. I mean, I thought the whale that they did, I liked it better than the judges that week, and I would have put them higher. I thought it was great, and
Yeah,
they're really good.
They could have made a castle on a cliff and put lights in it. It would have been the same thing.
And
Or like,
Yeah, it's just a lot of repeat. And another technicality that I remember seeing is that they had brick built figures, which I'm a fan of.
Yeah.
But then they also like they weren't consistent. It was either brick built figures, minifigures. It was a mish, and it's like pick one.
the scale was definitely off because, like, at the bottom it was the minifigures, and then it just like gradually got bigger and bigger.
No, there were ninjas. There's brick built ninjas on the first floor.
Right.
I'm
Oh, I
still
missed
on the
that.
ninjas. Sorry.
but some of the
I
ninjas you can't see
missed
because they're
that.
invisible.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, and again, and just to be fair,
Right.
we are armchair building through this whole scenario and nitpicking because this
Wait.
is a hard competition. No matter what we joke about and say, these guys had a hard time. It was definitely excruciating and mentally grueling.
Are you,
But we're just
Are you-
being picky. We're just being picky.
I will
Are
I
you-
will say that I enjoyed all three builds, and yeah, it was hard, but I did not think the order was correct.
I agree.
I really do think that Zach and Wayne did come in third, and I do think that Caleb and Jacob should have been number 2, but I definitely do believe that Mark and Steven came in first.
Absolutely. Let's talk about Mark and Steven's build. Granted, they
Were
won.
on the show?
No, we're just focusing on the guys who didn't win. Let's talk about the build that did win.
Yeah.
When they
I
first
was-
started, I was like, they're just ripping off Treebeard. This is not very creative. But then as it took more shape, I was like, okay, this is different. And dude, that tree has some pecs. I was impressed with the tree pecs, and the
Tree pecs.
tree had abs.
Yeah, Tree had abs.
I mean, those abs
Definitely.
were hard as wood.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Mahogany.
No
even.
dad jokes. Are you kidding? Go home.
I can do better dad jokes than Will
He
Arnett.
is
Which is one of the
home.
reasons that I don't like the shtick. It's like I could have said that at home for crying out loud.
My brother did say about, you mentioned Will Arnett. He did say, he was like, if we had been on that show and Will was like talking to us, I probably would have told him to shut the F up, because like it would driven him. He was like, I don't think I could have handled his like horrible humor.
Do you think they signed waivers to be pleasant to Will Arnett?
Totally.
Here,
Like,
you
when
must
they-
sign this waiver.
When they brought back the
Must be
puppet,
nice
I
to Will.
rolled my eyes so hard I almost went blind. I was like, really?
I like Billy. And the fact that he's actually voiced by the guy who does Kermit the Frog.
Okay, that's a plus. I'll give you that.
Exactly. That's all that matters, is that it's Kermit the Frog. But yeah, I mean, the forced comedy sometimes, and granted, some of it's edited, sometimes improv works, sometimes it doesn't, especially if you don't have receptive people who are willing to improvise with you.
That's why I need to be on the show next season, because I'm funny.
Yes, you are. That's for sure.
Who's your teammate, Maddie?
I think Matthew and I were teammates. I probably feel like,
Oh, if we were teammates, they would have all these clips of us like fighting with each other and rolling our eyes at each other.
well,
It would be
probably. I think Matthew and I would be worse than my brother and I.
You would be team cat fight. And that's just what we would call it. Team
I
cat.
mean, If
No,
I
no,
were
no.
cast on the show, I would be the one that's constantly making sarcastic remarks under my breath that would be broadcast to all of America. And then I would be like, yeah, I was kind of mean when I said that, wasn't I?
You would be the guy who would be like, "Do you even know how to Lego, Maddie?" God, and I'd be like, wait, what did you say? Like the PA, like B. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But I would mean it totally in a sarcastic way, not like I'm
Right.
genuinely
When
questioning.
I
But I
would
would
take
be
it
like,
too seriously. I'd be like, like,
do you even
what?
know how to Lego?
Crying in the corner, not realizing it was a joke.
See again, there we go. Drama. Or actually, I like Axel's comment, Team Cat Butt. There we go.
I was gonna say that, but
I
you
like
beat
it.
me to it.
I work it. I think there needs to be a
Dana-
T-shirt.
Dan and I could be a team, but we would sit there and talk to each other the whole time and not build anything, and we would get kicked off in the first week because that's.
But maybe that would allow us to stay longer because we were developing drama and TV content they were looking for versus building. I don't know.
We could plot like fake arguments between us at night and come in the next day and like throw things and just really play it up. And the producers would be like, "You can't kick them off. They are too
Yeah, we've
good."
got to let it slide. Make it
I said
technicality.
blue, not light blue. What's wrong with you?
I mean, come on. The team, do you even know how to Lego? They made it to the finale.
Exactly.
They did. They did.
Team Conflict made it to the finale. I'm just saying.
True. It's very, very true.
Mhm.
Very, very true.
And
But again, so what do we have any complaints? Because I feel we have to talk about complaints. Do we have any
yes, I do have a
complaints
complaint. Yeah, okay. I got
about
one.
Mark and Steven's build?
No, not about Mark and Steven's build.
All
but
right,
I
then
have a
fine.
com-
Go ahead.
I-
Go
I-
ahead. What's your
I have a
complaint?
general complaint. Think about this. You know, most finales are like 2 hours long, so I was expecting this one to be 2 hours, right? So I was expecting some like heated drama between all three teams, not just one team, but like all of the teams in general. Like, what was happening on Mark and Steven's end that caused drama? What was happening on the twin brothers?
You know, it's also the night for the season finale for Fantasy Island, so
And this is
do both.
and Maddie is definitely what Fox demographic is marketing towards.
Yeah.
Up.
Just saying. Just saying. Now, I will say this. I did notice that in contrast to season one, we got film of the families. We didn't get the families showing up like we did in season one because of COVID.
COVID.
Do you know what my dad said about the filming of the families? Oh my god, this is so bad. So you know the two twin brothers with the glasses, and like you know his general family showed up, and then all of a sudden the girlfriend of one of them showed up, and
Fiance,
the fiance, whatever, and she was a little bit
Not
awkward and
Beyonce.
shy. Whatever. So and then he starts crying. And he's like, and he's like, I just miss her so much. My dad was like, that's sad.
I wonder if she still wants to marry him after he lost.
My comment was, this is when Fox tries to get somebody to cry on camera.
Yeah.
Like literally.
or they hope that they will cry.
hope
No,
that
but
one of
but
them breaks
you gotta
down and
think
cries
that-
on camera.
that-
That is the goal.
That
Which-
twin filmed.
That crying on camera happens in every season of Project Runway. I'm just going to point that out. Like it
Yeah,
works.
no,
Well, yeah, but that's a bunch of flighty, emotional people who they're going to cry at the drop of a hat anyway. So
But that twin moment, you gotta think he definitely filmed that in a confessional situation like a day or two later. It wasn't like on the spot. Like, and he was probably emotional because he lost, but at the same time, the way that they edited and cut it, it was
I speak
very,
English.
like,
Say it in Chinese.
Sliced it in there.
Nishiwo mama.
Don't
It
talk
was
like that to
it
me.
was very like not chill. Like it was just like it was really awkward and weird, and you're just like, dude, the girl, no, something, no.
Well, the whole
I
family,
have
the
a
whole
question.
family bits in general felt forced.
I have a question about the twins' family. Was that a sister that had the big glasses that looked,
Or was it the triplet? That they're not really twins, they were a triplet, and there was a girl in there
I
with
had
them. That's what I thought.
I had questions.
I'll say it.
because I'm like, that looks a lot like the two people on the show. Is that the sister or
It
I-
Well, it was
I don't-
definitely mom, dad,
then
and
the-
two
the one with
sisters.
Are you talking about the one with the short hair and the glasses that looked like Harry
Yes.
Potter? Like someone just popped out of the Hogwarts?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was their sister, but I think she probably was the younger sister.
I would agree with that. But that's a guess. I mean, I don't know.
But I'm still thinking she could have been the triplet.
Could have been split.
And let's just say she looked a lot like them.
Even
like-
more so than the other sister, because it was obviously mom, dad, and the two sisters.
It's like, the creator used the same cookie
Wait,
cutter, but like
it was-
slightly different.
It was
It's
kind
like the
awkward that
season
the
of Star
fiancé
Wars,
was by themselves.
It's the Bad Batch. We've got the female clone.
Right.
The
Okay, I want
fiancé
to come
was
back
alone.
to emotional reaction. So, for my money, Mark and Steven's surprise look when Zach and Wayne finished second and the twins finished third was more genuine than their surprise look when they won, and I think they thought they were going to win.
Well, I mean, just
Agree,
looking at all
disagree?
three builds, just even without turning the lights on for the twist, you could tell who was going to win. I mean,
They tried hard to act surprised, but I don't think they were totally surprised.
I think
I
they
think they
thought
were
that they were
shocked
going
when
to. I
the
think they thought the order was what I said. What we all
Yes, I do too.
that they
I
were
think
going
we
to
all
go
expected
head
it to
with
be.
Caleb and Jacob at the very end.
I
Even
think they were
though
genuinely surprised when they made that announcement. They were like, oh, "Can you believe that?"
and you know
Really?
what though? I forgot to put on my Fox helmet. This is exactly why they chose Zach and Wayne to be second, because they knew it would cause drama and we knew it would cause shock.
Maybe.
Maybe.
It's TV though too, because I gave my father a little information about oh my god, I'm blanking out on names. The guys that won, the ones that apparently you guys
Mark
know.
and Steven.
Mark and Steven. And
The
I said that
Atlanteans.
they work for Atlanta Brick Company, and Atlanta Brick Company gives whatever to the show sometimes. And he was like, "Oh, they're gonna win because they're affiliated with the company that's affiliated with the show." And I was
No, it
like, and I thought about it.
doesn't work
and,
that way.
No.
And honestly, they
Atlanta-
had the better of the Bills, but I think the girls, the two girls could have made it had they changed their ways a little bit. Like
If
for
they had
example, the
done
thing that
more
brings me back-
castle,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
would've been- it would have been probably Zach and Wayne. Well,
you
Zach
have
and
to
Wayne
also
could not go
think,
home.
like, you wonder if the people who won because Castle is like now the like whatever, right? But
Mm,
no,
nah.
but
I see where you're going. I see where you're going, but it's a little conspiracy theory.
So I would say this: if the two female contestants that were still left, if they had done a more castle-y castle, I mean, Brickmaster Amy wanted them to still be on the show, and
Yeah.
and you could hear her voice crack in that she did not want to send them home, but they did not build a castle.
they were
That was the
creative
thing.
ladies.
They were
and
very.
and-
Yeah, but it wasn't
agree.
castle
even though
enough.
the unicorn car flopped, they were still very good.
I
So
agree.
this is one of the things that I don't like about the show, is that it is you meeting the challenge, not if you're a good builder or not.
Yeah,
So that's all I'm gonna say about that.
yeah.
Beat that dead horse all season long.
I
mean,
would say that all four of those bills from last week were not good. All of them were good. One second.
But it was the whole challenge. The whole challenge.
Oh,
granddaughter.
Granddaughter. Good night, granddaughter.
Bye, Isabella.
But and we know from other streams and other interview stuff that they were exhausted. All four teams were just like bleh. Except for Caleb and Jacob. They were the Energizer Bunnies. They're like, we got this. The other three teams were all just like, whatever. I'll go home. I don't care. Send me home. Just they were like, just get it done.
Yeah.
So
so to come around to Maddie's point, I think that if the brief had not been castle, the two women may very well have made it into the final. If it had been a different task that was appointed to them that week, they may have made it in. But I also think that it's entirely fair on a Lego show to be expected to build space, castle, or pirates at some point. These are classic Lego themes. You should not be shocked at all if you're asked to build one of these three things. Core.
Actually build it.
That is so funny you say that, because my brother and I have been discussing the possibility of doing season 3.
Okay.
And he was like, I'm going to buy 3 of the new Lego castle sets. And I'm
Which,
going
by
to
the way, are on sale at Costco for 25% off.
Oh yeah, we know.
The 3-in-1 castle.
Like, he said, I'm gonna buy I'm gonna buy 3 of them, and I'm gonna build them to their entirety, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm gonna take them apart and then build one mega castle, right? And he said he was like, we've got to be creative in how we build animals. So he built a freaking anglerfish. Wait till you see this. Wait till you see this. Like, you guys are gonna be like, what?
Gotta
But then
do the
he was
Instagram.
like, we gotta build castle. He told me I have to practice the motorized
boost.
shit.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he's not gonna do that. He's gonna do the creative side of it. I'm gonna do like all the technical shit.
Well,
And
and that's just it. You are hitting it on the nail on the head. That it has to be that way. You've got to be prepared, and that's kind of also where the girls were also failing a little bit, because that hanging off the wall was a very technical problem that needed a technical solution. You
If
couldn't
they-
just be creative. You had to be technical.
They had gone with a pink castle that maybe had doors that opened up and things like that, and people hanging out waiting or something. That would have met the challenge and requirement for castle. Even if they didn't get very far out, they would have been very creative. They still would have had that childlike element, a princess in the tower thing, and all that, and they still might have been able to get to the finale instead of maybe Caleb and Jacob.
And Mark and Steven's castle was not good. And I say this, I'm happy that.
Well, yeah, they could have gotten knocked out too.
That
Absolutely.
Was, the truly stunning thing was it was a castle challenge, and I think they missed the mark. And they were fortunate that there was at least one of the team that also missed the mark worse.
Yeah.
But their castle, I did not think was particularly visually stunning, or the colors. The colors looked very strange to me. If you're gonna go pink, if you're gonna go like pink and go really colorful, go really colorful. But it was like red and white. Like,
they said on Between the Studs that they were like, we're tired, we're done. If we're going home, we're going home. They had committed to that. If they lost, and they were fine with it, because they were like, we're cold, we're tired, I don't care anymore. And we didn't see enough of them getting cranky with each other, but evidently there was a lot more cranky going on than we saw.
Think about what Matt
through
said
Mordor,
earlier
they were
about-
ready to give up the ring to the next door.
Oh yeah, definitely. They were like, "Here you go, Sauron. Take it." Yeah.
Well, think about if we did have some footage of them in the hotel room, or like freaking out at like the hair and makeup people. Like,
that would be more entertaining than the perceived drama that we're creating.
Honestly, today the reason why I've been like had this gap was because I was like, this is boring.
Well, it's we want to see the builds, or we want to see more drama, and we're not getting enough drama to make it a drama-worthy watch, and we're not getting enough builds.
It's not necessarily drama. I guess it is drama.
But it's perceived or forced. It's not even. It's not one-way designers crying because their fabric got ripped.
I have a confession that I totally zoned out completely when the family visited, because I'm working on getting some free stuff from Lancaster, some more new IKEA table and some more shelving and stuff. So I was like, I don't care.
Yeah,
I'm sitting there sending messages back and forth. I didn't care who was on TV, blah blah blah. And
Now, I will say the drama that they tried to create this season was drama by blowing up and knocking over shit. Sorry, stuff.
Right.
And they were trying to create, shock as they destroyed Lego. And and I'm fine with there being 2 out of 8 competitions to do that, but there was half of the competitions.
Right.
We had the shake, and we had the wind, and we had
You also
the
have to
weight
think-
challenge.
Things might have been just a little bit different because of COVID, right?
No.
You don't think so?
The time, the amount of time involved for the builds was definitely due to COVID. The amount of, the structure of the filming, that was due to COVID. The competitions themselves, no bearing on
No,
COVID.
I'm not saying the competitions. I'm saying like the filming aspect of like, oh, we can get some more, behind the scenes stuff, or like I don't know.
Well, no, the behind the scenes stuff would be cool, but we had a blowing up, we had a shake it by the earth, and then we also had a wind construction, and then we had a mashup derby.
So let's pause for a second. Fox, if you're listening, what we want is behind the scenes stuff and crap, and we want
tip
like
tricks.
the hotel drama, and we want the hairspray not laying on someone's hair and then freaking out because you curled their hair instead of straightening it.
We want
Plus,
brick.
we also want the build and the
tips.
building techniques, so we need 2-hour episodes, not 1.
Yeah, give us the drama. As to answer Axel's comment, and I'm so sorry because we don't have enough people on here to be monitoring the chat at the same time as what we got there. But Axel, yes, you're absolutely right. They need to change the formula.
Wait, no, but also Brick Pit is right too. Brick Pit said it's borderline a family-friendly reality show, so drama needs to be family-friendly. So that's true. So like we did see the drama and the knocking over and stuff instead of the you don't even know how to build Lego crap, right?
Yeah.
So
Which is by far the most classic tagline from season
But
1.
we could have seen like Mark and Steven being a little snippy with each other because brothers do that.
We saw little teeny bits of it, but again, this is Mark and Steve Erickson, who are about as squeaky clean American as you can get.
Yeah, but honestly, if it was like if Mark and Steven were my brother Andrew and Simon, they would be back in the hotel just like wrestling each other and fighting over something stupid, and that would have been really great TV. It would have been borderline like
Yes.
WWE drama, Lego,
entertaining.
and tension. Like,
But again, then it still goes back to the question of what are we bringing these people onto the show for? Are we bringing them on because we want to watch these cool builds that they're going to do, or do we want to watch them be Boo Boo Kitty or Honey Boo Boo or whatever it is and give me drama, crazy stuff?
That's the dilemma. Like they could go on all sorts of directions, and they chose one direction, and I one direction.
Yeah, but you know what though? As an AFOL, as a non-millennial AFOL, I don't really care about reality TV. I just want to see these cool builds and what's going on. So give me like what they're doing in all the other countries in the world, a build show.
Or so I get what Maddie's saying. So I think I get what Maddie's saying, which is Steven is a professional welder. I would have loved to have seen like a 3-minute segment of Steven in the welding shop doing what he does, or Mark working at Atlanta Brick Company, showing him as someone who works in Lego for a living. Or
it wasn't that personable this season. You're exactly right,
Or
Matthew.
Wayne doing his archery stuff.
If you watch, let's say Project Runway, which is a talent sewing contest, they always have featurettes, especially after the first or second week. This person is trying to start this business. They live in this city. This is their personal struggle. They're a single mom, or their parents died when they were 5, or
We've already
the U.S. Olympics. Why you should care about the person in the 100-meter dash? They could do that. I would be more interested in that
Turn it off now.
than shtick about Will Arnett and
I agree with Matthew, because Will Arnett made me just go like this like so many times, and I was.
But that's gonna. Again, it's because they chose Will Arnett. It's Will Arnett, but I don't care about. I don't care about their personal struggles. I want to know what they're building and how cool it is and what they're going to do with it and what the cool techniques and features and the story about their build. I don't care
about the story about their Lego journey.
Yeah, I don't care that they grew up in the streets.
Excuse
me.
They
had to put with Mega Blocks until they could afford Lego.
Mark and Steven said that they at the very end there in their little blah 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 that they'd never been had a dark age. They had always played with Lego, and they showed a little pictures of them. That kind of thing. Their Lego journey is very much like mine. As soon as I could get Lego, the difference is my parents didn't care about me and didn't get me Lego. I had to go get my own. It's okay.
My parents didn't love me.
Self-starter story.
That's okay. That makes me a self-starter, and I was going to get brick, and I was going to enjoy it, and I was going to keep it.
I did it my way.
I did it my way. Yes, but I never had a dark age. I mean, I had to stop doing Lego while I went in the service, and as soon as I got out of basic training, I went and got brick as soon as I could at my next post to train
At the PS.
and went back during my Christmas break and got the rest of my collection. Exactly, just like that.
Okay, Maddie had something she wanted to say.
No, not anymore. I'm done. I'm done.
But some sort of Lego journey would have been okay, as opposed to the Marks of Welder
So let's imagine that Dana had
or
made the
Caesar
show.
Welder.
They
Sorry.
needed to show your audition tape of you dressed up in your costume. Like people should see that about you. So,
Yeah, well-
like if they just started with Dana walks on the set and what does Dana build, they would be throwing hilarious videotape by not showing us clips from your audition.
We didn't
which is what they
get
do.
that this season. We did
Right.
not get that kind of yes, I agree. We did
Yeah,
not get that.
it's so funny because that was so much of the interview process that you had to have videos and pictures.
A backstory.
Yeah, you had to have all this, and then you get on. Then they get to the season, and we got none of it.
Right. No, that's exactly what we're saying, Dana. Is that when my brother and I interviewed, they were like, your backstory, your guys' backstory is amazing. For me personally, they were like, you didn't even like Lego until COVID, and then for your brother, he didn't get back into Lego because of you. And and they were like, that's crazy, that's awesome. But they didn't highlight any of that with any of these groups. Why did the two women do it? Why do Mark and Steven why did the people from Utah
The two moms. I would have liked to have known. How did they fit Lego in with being their mom?
Oh, our sons play Lego, but they never got into depth about that crap.
Yeah. I mean, if the human interest and the journey is part of this, and that's what the interview process was kind of dictating, we didn't see any of it.
Well,
we didn't get to
see any of it also because of the editing, and also because of they cut a lot of the airtime because of other crap that was happening on Fox. So, for example, the golf, this thing stretched over 5 months.
Well, because we had the All-Star break, we had the Olympics,
we had the golf, we had all that stuff.
We could have had 3 minutes less of shtick every week and had a featurette about one of the contestants. We could have. I mean, it was 3 minutes of, instead of, Will Arnett driving around in a little motorized cart, we could have learned something about Zach and Wayne or the brothers or the two moms from Utah. I mean, I would have enjoyed that more than I enjoyed Will Arnett riding around in a cart.
Did you get a chance to talk to
I'm burning
Jen
my chance
Susan
to
at
be on
Brick Fair?
season 3.
Did you get a chance to talk to Jen and Susan at the Brick Fair?
She came by and said very nice things about my painted ladies, and I said thank you, and she left a little trademark, and that was all. That was the only conversation I had with her. But
I didn't even have that much. I saw her in the lobby as she was checking out. I said, "Well, have a good trip back to Utah." That was it.
I told her that I was really sorry that she'd gotten eliminated. She was like, "Shh, not everybody's watched it yet." And I was like, "I have. I'm telling you that I'm sorry you got," because I said I liked your work, and and it's also from one middle-aged person to another. It's nice to see someone who's not just in their 20s.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, well,
I'm just wondering how exhausted those people actually were, because if they were even half as exhausted as I think they were, no, I'm too old for that stuff.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting
and
to
I were-
see if they go back to 3-day shoots post-COVID and if they would get better quality, or if they just say, it's so much cheaper production-wise to do it in 2 days. We'll just burn the cast. We don't care. I don't know.
it can go either way. And actually, I joked with Chris on Saturday when he and I were talking because we were recanting and talking about this, and we were talking about Between the Studs and how Mark was talking about how they had burnt the candle wasn't burnt at both ends. The candle had burnt down. I mean, it was gone. There was no more candle left. They were exhausted, tired, spent, mentally exhausted. And both Chris and I were like, yeah, if they were to offer us a spot on the show, if we audition for season 3, we would ask the question, so what's the filming schedule going to be like? Because
Moto says 6 weeks, 12 episodes.
all right, well, that's same frame, isn't it?
It sounds slightly longer. I thought this last one was only 5 weeks, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, because
Moto just said 6 weeks, 12
they'll keep
episodes.
the same schedule. So for me about to crest over the hill, and Chris is already over the hill, we need naps. Just saying. I'd have to have that written into contract. I need like between 3 and 4. I definitely got to have a 45-minute power nap, or I'm not shooting the show.
Let me just point out that 12 episodes over 6 weeks is only 2 episodes a week. So if you had 3 days for episode 1 and 3 days for episode 2 and Sunday off, that's going back to season 1 production schedule, I think. If I'm doing my math right.
It's 3.5 days per episode.
3.5.
So, yeah,
Oh,
3.5
that's if
days.
you don't have a day off at all.
Well, no, I'm saying like that 0.5 is the day off. So Matthew's probably right. They probably do 2 episodes a week with 1 day where there's nothing, where you can do.
And you also have to think about the fact that when we're talking days, and Moto, correct me if I'm wrong here, days were not 8-hour work days.
Mm-mm.
They were not 8-hour work days, if I'm not mistaken. So they were
10
definitely
and 12s and
yeah. They were definitely long days, and some of those days were back to back to back of long days. Definitely, I mean, it definitely pulls in that survivor mentality of, do you have what it takes to survive this, this gauntlet type of thing.
I know Mark and Steven said that judging took half a day.
No,
that's what he said on one of the shows.
Off was like,
or maybe they were doing like they would do the side takes and stuff like that.
He said that
4 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. That's a long day, especially when there's 3 of those days in a row or 4 of those days in a row. That's tough stuff.
Now, so if they had 2 build days and then half a day for the judging, and then 2 build days and half a day of judging, that gets you 12 episodes into 6 weeks. So maybe there would be 2 long days and then a shorter day. I don't know, but
maybe it depends. Either way, it is no longer just you've got to be quirky to get a team on there. You've got to be a good builder, and then you've also got to have the endurance to make it through the grueling days.
You have to have your methamphetamine supplier.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, Axleplate. You totally noticed my cat going to its spaceship. Blind cat. You guys want to see?
Was the spaceship a litter box, or is it just a tunnel?
No, they were going to move.
Can they supply you with no-dos during the show and some Jolt Cola?
Oh, spaceship.
I'm totally jealous of your space cat.
Look at her. She's like,
yeah.
So
this is good.
Moto is saying you are underestimating the day and week. So I still think it's a grueling schedule, no matter whether it's 6 weeks. So definitely.
I mean, look at me. I only teach 4 classes a week, so I'm sure it would be a lot harder.
I work from home, and I'm lucky if I put in like 2 hours a day. So I've got, I can't do that.
But you do build Lego all day during your workday, so that is going for you.
I do have that going for me, and I do also. But see, for me is like if they said, "Hey, we're starting building at 10 a.m. and you're going to build till 2 a.m," I'm down with that. But if they're saying I got to be up at 4 a.m., yeah.
Look, AstroCat 1 wants to get in, but AstroCat 2 is already in the rocket.
Yeah, I know. They're nudging.
They're like, "Hey, can I come in your spaceship?" And the other cat's like, "No, I'm in the spaceship right now. I'm going to Mars. Sorry, you're gonna have to wait."
There is only enough room in the escape pod for 1.
And
can we just have like a separate camera, Maddie, that rigged up to your spaceship for future shows?
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
Hey, the escape pods are not for cats. They're only for humans.
That spaceship cost $25 at Target, but I saw it and I was like,
Oh.
And it was the best $25 you spent at Target. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
because
could have got
there's-
the Bro Thor set.
there's a little hole in there, like with the globe on it, and they freaking love it because I sprinkled catnip all over it. But still, look at it, they're gonna start fighting in a second. Anyway,
All right. So
back in there. Get back in there.
we are at an hour and 5. We don't have our host to
We
be
have
able
some
to end the show.
interstellar cat drama going on right now.
There is
Yeah.
so I mean we don't have the host to end the show. So technically this could go on for at least another 11 hours till YouTube actually hits their 12-hour window and says it shuts off. So who
We're
knows if
supposed
Chris
to-
will chime
Well,
on
you
in
know,
an hour.
We're supposed to text Mark.
Ran home.
Oh, we're
so he-
supposed to text Mark.
oh,
He's going to turn it off.
Okay.
Did you text him?
I just texted him.
Okay, all right.
All right.
Fine.
I'm
He
just
said
I'm
that
just
we can be cut off in mid sentence. Is really what's going
Yeah,
on.
so I think that's supposed to be. Yeah.
Mark's just
Yeah.
going to go delete.
I'm definitely spinning, using the spoon and stirring up trouble and causing Maddie to go, what is he talking about? But so it sounds like Mark is ready to chime us down. So I will do the Chris thing. Thank you for everybody for joining with us and chiming in with us. I'm sorry that we didn't have the little pop-ups with the comments from the peanut gallery that we normally have because we didn't have a host with us. But thank you for chiming in. I hope we were able to include you in the conversation as much as we could. I still need to get back with Axel and explain why I'm called Troubles Bricking and why he's questioning, but we'll talk about that another show. But as Chris said, or always says, if you haven't gotten your shots, go get your shots. If you haven't, wear a mask, be good to each other, and go out there and build something.
We're
Good night, everybody. Whee!